Please hang up and try again.
Quiet on the set. Take one.
Because we haven't yet.
And the other thing is just you whip into this. Yeah, we can even start like this. You know, like when he's running, you might feel like this.
because it's a sound we've never really heard before. We don't know what's going on. Then we look on the news and we see that an oil tanker is capsized and there's been reports of this sound, and we go to the roof to try to see what's going on. So Rob's got to get to Beth, who's on the other side of town, and the city's a war zone. You know, the military's in full-on attack mode, trying to fight this thing. And at one point, we have to go down into this subway because we get caught in the crossfire. We're in the subway where something surprises us there, and I mean, it's, you know, miles and miles of chaos from point A to point B. So it's not a simple subway ride. I think when we're crossing the Brooklyn Bridge, it's, you know, we sort of get a view of some of the city that's smoldering, and we see that the Statue of Liberty's head is gone. We see the Statue of Liberty without it, and it's this really tripped out sort of, wow, I can't believe this. But I also think it's like, okay, we're gonna make it out. Like, this is really messed up, but we're gonna make it out. And then the hand strikes, and it's just utter chaos.
There are a lot of obstacles we face on the way to Beth, and everything you can possibly imagine, from running through subway tunnels, getting stuck in department stores. It becomes a journey to save our friend, and we encounter many obstacles along the way. When we enter the dark subway tunnel, people are going to think that something's going to happen, and they would probably be right. And many things happen in the subway tunnel that are terrifying. It's one of the scariest moments. Probably the coolest thing I've got to do so far is we shot a scene the other night where I get taken away in a helicopter, and we have to run up to helicopters that are going full blast. I get grabbed and thrown onto a helicopter and taken off into the sky, which, I mean, I've never even been on a helicopter before. I've never done anything that crazy. I felt like a real action star, so.
Here, let's go.
What is this for?
It's for Rob. Say something to him before he leaves.
Rob's awesome. I'm gonna miss it.
Rob, have fun in Japan.
You owe me $11.
How are you gonna survive without Rob? He's like your main dude.
Yeah, no. Hey, how am I gonna survive without you?
I don't know, I'm like your main dude.
What was that noise?
He sounded like an animal.
Yeah, just relax. Everything.
Phone calls are pouring into the New York One newsroom as a thunderous, roaring sound.
Do you even see something from the roof?
What animal sounds like that?
Shaking everywhere, man. It's like tremors.
Looks like you should have left town a little bit earlier.
Tonight's gonna be the best night ever.
He's here, let's go.
say something to him before he leaves.
Rob's also here. I'm gonna miss it.
Rob, have fun in Japan.
You owe me $11.
How are you gonna survive without Rob? He's like your main dude.
Yeah, no. Hey, how am I gonna survive without you?
I don't know, I'm like your main dude.
What was that noise?
It sounded like an animal.
Yeah, just relax. Everything.
Phone calls are pouring into the New York One newsroom as a thunderous roaring sound.
You can see something from the roof?
What animal sounds like that? Shaking everywhere, man. It's like tremors.
Looks like you should have left town a little bit earlier.
What is it? Is it coming this way?
I saw it. It's alive. It's huge. No. Anybody see Jason?
It's gonna be the best night ever.
There's a very large sound, like a roaring sound, and then the lights go out, which is very scary for me as an actor and as this character. And then the lights come up, and there's just a lot of commotion outside. So they watch the news to see that there's a large roaring sound, and so they go to the roof because they're in the area of Manhattan near to where the disturbance was, and then all heck starts breaking loose. They have no transportation, so they're running everywhere. They go into the subway tunnels. They have to actually walk the tunnels because none of the trains are running. It is a really daunting task. They run up, I think, 60 flights of stairs. I've never run so much in my life. Never. I honestly don't even think that if I, T.J. Miller, was in a situation where the creature was attacking, I don't think I could run this much. I mean, there'd be a lot of adrenaline involved, but I think after a while, I'd be like, could we just take a break, you know, relax, have a sandwich or something? There's a lot of moments in this film when Rob says, we got to do this, and my character is saying, I don't think that's okay, but no, or yeah, we can do it. And the tunnel is one of the scariest parts, because that is absolutely dark, where they have just a little bit of light. They turn on night vision, and some stuff gets insane.
I play Marlena, and she is not part of this group of friends. She just happened to show up to the party. She knows Jessica Lucas's character Lily, but not very well. And I just stopped by this party to say hello. That was the plan. And then, you know, stuff happens, and I get stuck with these people that I barely know, including TJ's character, Hud, who has a crush on my character, and I sort of can't stand him for the beginning of the movie. I think that my character does want to leave and find, we talked a lot in rehearsals of the backstories that I really want to be with my own friends, obviously, and I have no real role in this group, and I'm not telling people what to do. I'm forced to follow these people on this mission that they're going on that I don't really think is worthwhile, because I think that Beth is probably already dead, and it's just ludicrous to do such a thing, to go against where they're telling us to go. But I'm stuck there because they're the only people that I know, and I'm not really going to go off by myself because I think that would be scarier. There's a scene that we filmed on the bridge last week where everybody has to fall like the bridge is, and I saw the playback and it really looks like something's happening, which is totally impressive and very unlike anything I've ever done.
My son Henry and I went to Tokyo last year when Mission Impossible 3 was being released in Japan. And we went to a bunch of toy stores, mostly because that's, you know, what he and I really wanted to do. We went to Japan. And so we went to some really, you know, great and different toy stores. And I realized at almost all of them, Godzilla was still featured quite a bit. And it just struck me that there was this, you know, iconic monster that was still so many years later prevalent in these stores and had meaning to the culture. And I thought, you know, I wish that we had a monster like that. And although you could argue King Kong could be sort of in that vein, it really didn't have the same meaning. And it just stuck with me, this idea of making a monster movie. I think that there's something to be said for what Matt did in this movie, and the, you know, how scary it is and how real it is at the same time that it's absolutely ridiculous. And that to me is like my favorite kind of a movie. It takes something that's just preposterous and makes it terrifying, whether it's Alien or, you know, Jaws. I mean, a movie like you know, like Cloverfield, I think, you know, is potentially something that taps into the kind of fear that people live with, and lets them, you know, have that scream and gasp and horror, and do it safely, and do it with a sense of humor too. It also makes it a far more dramatic thing. I mean, if you watch Jaws, if you watch Alien, those movies use not seeing the creature, not seeing the shark, as a way to increase the tension and make the terror that much more real and deeply felt. So the fun of having it be you or me experiencing this crazy night, the advantage of that is that you suddenly can do the kind of things that Ridley Scott did in Alien, where you were hearing things, you were like waiting for the monster to appear, and that felt very different to me than any monster movie I'd seen before. The story is it's the night of the going away party, and the guy who's going away, who's been in love with this woman, you know, for a long time, finally kind of have this fight, and it's the thing that's going to sort of end that relationship. And in a way, it feels very much like, you know, it could be a Cameron Crowe movie. It also happens to be the night that a monster the size of a skyscraper comes out of the ocean and appears in Manhattan. So it's the combination of the chocolate and the peanut butter. It's like the craziest. It's a movie I'd want to watch if no monster appeared, you know, mixed in with a monster. So to me, that's like, you know, so it's like take genre, add monster equals my favorite movie of all time. We live in a time of such fear that having a movie that is about something as outlandish as a massive creature attacking your city, I think allows people to process and experience the kind of fear that we are all living with in a way that is incredibly entertaining, incredibly safe, incredibly witty. But it's all tapping into, unfortunately, a very real fear that we all have. So I can't honestly say that that's why I came up with this and that was my approach, but I can say that in the way that, you know, when there's something that you really want to see or something that you know, get excited about, I knew that if this movie came out and I had nothing to do with it, I would rush to see it, because I do want to have that experience, but I don't want to go sit through a movie that's about terrorism or about the war. I want to go to a movie that is about something larger than life and hyper real, and Cloverfield certainly is that. I am so thrilled that they let us make it. I'm thrilled that we got to make it, and I'm so blown away that Matt did make it the way he did, because I think he just totally outdid himself. The key to casting this movie well was to cast really great, talented, likable people that you hadn't seen before. And, you know, certainly there will be people who go, oh, I recognize her from that or him from that. But we wanted to try and cast people who, for the most part, were unknowns. And we got this incredible cast.
Jason Hawkins is a bit of a quarter-life crisis guy, Rob's older brother, and he's kind of the hack to Rob's success. He's the older brother who just, he's kind of guy that was probably really, really cool in high school, and he's just never quite left. Lily is my love of my life. She is the you know, we've been in this relationship for forever, and I'm kind of been stalling on the marriage front, which, as we see in the film, she's kind of getting a little perturbed with, and just being the typical guy. And
I think we have a really cool relationship. You know, most relationships that you see in film, I mean, they're all over the board, but you would expect the lovey-dovey, that, you know, run-of-the-mill thing. But I think Jessica and I are kind of practical jokers in real life, and we bring a lot of that sarcasm to the role, which is, I think, what made Jessica's Lily, is that we just naturally fell into kind of busting each other's chops, and that kind of spilled over on the screen. So it makes these two a lot more relatable when you pull that into real life. It's the old adage: if you had one more day left on this earth, who would you spend it with, and what would you do? And I think for all of us, it plays on that story of, you know, if this is my last day, this is the one thing that I have to, want to, and need to do, is be with this woman. So the second half of that film becomes about his journey back to her.
They're trying to escape and trying to find some sort of shelter, and Rob gets a phone call from me, and he sees that I'm hurt. So his first thought and his first reaction is, I need to find Beth. So the other group, the rest of my friends, they're like, are you crazy? She's probably gone. There's no way. There's no way we can go. It's in the middle of the attack. There's no way we can go and get her. He doesn't care. And he's going to fight to find Beth. So the others agree, and it's his journey, his you know, however they try to survive and get to me. They definitely, once they're on the mission to get me, once they finally get to my apartment, one of the girls says, wait a second, is that Beth's apartment? It's completely on top of another building, this huge high-rise, and my floor is just, you really have to hike to get there. It was almost impossible. I think the most surprising element of the movie is the fact that you are following this small group of people, this small group of friends, and you don't know what's going to happen next. There aren't any other points of view. So when you hear something, you're with that group of people and you're hearing it with them. It's almost as if the audience is going to be on the journey with them. So I think that they're going to be equally as scared.
The way that JJ and I met was that he and I both, as kids, made 8mm films, and there was a public access station, and they were showing these 8mm films, and I made 8mm films, so of course I wanted to watch. And they were showing all of these horror films that this guy was making, and at the end they interviewed him, and my only thought was, I gotta get my movies on this, what is this show? And it turned out to be JJ who was being interviewed, and the guy who put the show together, he put my films on, and then he said, well, you should meet JJ. And so we met, and we became fast friends, and we started making movies together, and we just have stayed friends through the years and sort of become creative confidants. Like whenever he would write a script in college, he would send it to me, and I would show him the films that I was making in film school, and we just were always friends. And then we started working together when we both started working in the industry, and JJ actually was one of the producers on the first film that I did, and we created Felicity together, and so we've worked together a lot. The exciting thing here was to figure out a way to sort of do this grand-scale monster movie, this huge crisis, but have it be made in a way where basically people watching the film could have the feeling that they could have made it had they been in exactly that same spot. The first 20 minutes is essentially this camera passing hands and ending up finally in this going away party, and you realize that what they're doing is they're documenting an event in their lives the way someone might document their graduation or a wedding or some touchstone moment, and then that the fun of the movie would be, and the impact would be, to take a moment like that, which was a going away party between a group of friends, and suddenly have something intrude on that, and how that would then become the sort of change and shift in the story, and what had been sort of meant to document fun would turn into documenting something important, to document an experience. And so the movie at that point shifts into high gear in that there becomes an imperative to film it, because this is something important, this is something that needs to be understood, and a document that needs to say, we went through this. That was the other fun thing about the movie, is that we were going to be doing something that hopefully for much of the film would feel like real time. And so you'd be watching scenes where people would be going through things and there'd be no reason to cut, because if you were in the middle of filming this and trying to document it and understanding it, you wouldn't be editing within the camera, you would just be taking it all in. And so the movie has these kind of long takes which take you through an experience, and it's happening in real time all around you, which is very different and exciting. And so the only jumps in time in the movie are when he does turn the camera on and off. And so the whole movie sort of starts in real time at this party, and then does these jumps forward through the party until this incident happens, and they basically are in Lower Manhattan, and then by the end of the night they have to find some way to get to Central Park. And so they take this movement that probably takes about 10 hours, and they move across the city, and you basically go through the whole journey with them. To me, the exciting thing about genre films and about giant monster movies is the idea of using the metaphor to, aside from creating an incredible ride, which I think the film is, to also find a way to approach kind of anxieties and fears of the time. And so in the same way that Godzilla was sort of a great metaphor for the time, for the atomic age, and the fears and anxieties that people feel, I think that we always felt that this film would have that similar effect on today's audience, in that it deals with the anxieties that we all have of being attacked and everything that's sort of going on at the moment, and yet enables you to approach it and, I think, get a cathartic experience and a fun ride and all of these things sort of all at once.
Well, that's it, everybody. That's going to do it for this episode of The Actors Lounge. I'm your host, Tony Lankford, and we'll see you next time.
Please hang up and try again.